Hey David, what do I flip? That's a common question I get. And it's not the easiest question to answer, but I'll try my best. The most important thing to consider, what's your price range? If you only have 100K, then I don't suggest, well, then you can still use the auction house. You can flip accessories, you can flip tools. If you had a million K, you could probably flip weapons or armor. Start flipping like the basic stuff like Raider axes, AOTEs, Runan's bows. You can flip dragon armor, you can flip tarantula, just the things like that. If you had a million, or if you had like 10 million, you could start flipping better weapons, things that are enchanted. A common thing that people misprice are the value of HPB on items. So you might be able to find a dragon armor, like strong dragon armor, with and it has full hot potato books, but it's going for the same price as a normal strong dragon armor of the same piece. In that case, you might make like 50K profit pretty easily. Other things you could flip, items you get. Well, this is just a small example, but you can get this from NPCs. You can flip mining XP, farming XP boosts. Um, you can sometimes flip bees. I don't know. Those are some NPC things you can flip. You can, and I would suggest this, bizarre flipping. Bizarre flipping is good when you have very little money because you don't. It doesn't matter how much money you have. For example, sand. You can always buy sand and sell it, and you just, no matter how much you can buy one piece, you can buy 50 pieces, you can buy 1,000 pieces, you can buy 100,000 pieces. It really doesn't matter. And if you bought it and sold it, you'd make three every piece. And if you sold like 1,000 at a time, you just made like, I don't know, 3,000 per 1,000 that you sold. If you sold 100,000, you just made $300,000, I guess. Anyway, so I'm not going to get into the details of what you should flip much more than that. I will say the strategy of what you should flip, though. And the strategy is hype. If items are hype, they are a lot easier to flip. So an example of hype items would be the Floor 7 dungeon gear. Now, this is probably not in most people's price range, but Floor 7 dungeon gear right now can make killer profits if you craft it. Also, items you need for Floor 7, like Flower of Truth, Livid Dagger, kind of. I mean, it's still a good item. Things, I don't know, even anything dungeon related. Like Bonzo staff, like items that people need to do dungeons. I don't know. That would be hype. You could hype items could also be pets. They could be because pets are generally flipped, especially popular pets like Baby Yeti. I don't know, like Wither Skeleton. You get dolphins, things like that. And then so is the item hype? It'll flip faster that way. I mean, you can still make profits on things that aren't hype. It's just going to take a lot longer to sell. Also, okay, so the other two categories of what the strategy of flipping is hype and then events. So you got events. I'm going to go into more detail in a different video, but basically, you want to pay attention to this calendar because that definitely affects prices. For example, Spooky Festival. You might during the Spooky Festival, spooky items are going to drop. But there are certain items that will also go up, like the bat. I think it's called Bat Talisman. You'll see it at a low price now, but when the spooky event starts, it'll raise in price just because it's needed for crafting. You got the Jerry event that's coming up, and that's in 2 days. I'd say about 1 day prior, you'll see that it is probably a good time to sell anything Jerry Island related because snow minions will drop during the Jerry event. You might have noticed. Um, um, Gifts drop during the Jerry event. The price of gifts. The price of baby Yetis drop during the Jerry event just because you can get it during the Jerry event. But then if you wait after the Jerry event to sell your items and it's like 3 or 4 days after the Jerry event, then that's when it's going to be worth the most. Okay, so you got Jerry event, and then mayors. Mayors is the other variable, and I'll get into mayors in its own video. It'll have its own video, but basically, mayors will definitely impact the price. For example, Paul, he has dungeon reward chests are 20% cheaper, so you'll see that anything that drops from a dungeon chest has dropped in price during this mayor. Um, so let's go to the bazaar. Let's look up. Well, okay, that's a bad example. There's a reason for that, but there are items that are dungeon related that have drastically dropped in price just because. I mean, not too drastically, but like the base price of a livid dagger would have been 11 before the event starts, and now it's 8.5 because it costs less. Same for flower tooth or whatever, you know. So mayors. So basically, what should I flip? Well, what's your price range? Two, is the item hype? If it is hype, then you'll sell it for a lot at a faster rate. And three, is there an event coming up? And four, which mayor is coming? And all these are factors that are the answer to the question what I should flip. So, yeah. Thanks for watching, and I'll get to more details in the next video. And subscribe at David Gaming, and you can watch me on Dave Plays Guitar on Twitch.